walkthrough. There's our ghoul. We're going to go ahead and kind of go this way. And as you can see, the water effect follows him. It stays above the surface of the water so we can clearly see where he is. Hey guys, it's Deco Freak here, and welcome to Q&A number 7 for my Amnesia Rebirth custom story creation tutorial. And today we're going to be talking about another one of your questions. The Q&A series, and for those of you that might be new, is the series where I pretty much take some of your questions that you've asked in the Discord and in the YouTube channel, on the main series videos, and pretty much answer it and show you guys how you implement something that you're asking. So today we're going to be answering a question here by Pat M. I'm a little late to some of these, but this is still a really good question. And Pat M here is trying to recreate Kurnik. For those unaware, he was the water monster from the original Dark Descent. He's not in Rebirth, but he's trying to recreate the water monster the way it was in Rebirth. So the way it was in the original Amnesia. And looks like they've got a pretty good start to doing it. They said they made like they put down some water and they set the ghoul to be a small like size, and then they kind of just trying to make it so that like the water splashes so that the player knows that the water monster's in the water. So we're pretty much going to talk about how we can get that implemented in Rebirth, kind of recreate it in a way. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and go to our level editor here. So first thing I think we should do is let's just get some water down. I'm just going to go ahead and create a plane. So we're going to go to primitives, and we're going to go ... here, and we're going to go textures, and then we're going to do liquid, water, and then we can pretty much choose whatever water we want. I think we should go for this kind of water. It has no reflection so that we can't see the tiny ghoul that we're putting underneath. And let's put it off over here because it's going to be a little hard to find it underneath the floor here. So let's put the water here. We're just kind of, again, it's just like a bit of a test here. So we're not really going to focus too much on how we're going to place this. We're just going to kind of get it down here. And we'll do something like that will probably be good enough, maybe a little lower. I think that was fine. Yeah, we'll leave it like that. So there's our water. And now what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and place a ghoul, a small ghoul underneath here. And what we're going to do is we're going to find the normal ghoul first. So we're just going to go ahead and search up ghoul. And we'll grab the first one here. And we'll go ahead and drop it right here. And we'll rotate them as well. And we'll aim them like towards the front of the room here. We're going to set them inactive right now. We don't want them to be active. And we're going to call them, we're going to call them Tiny Ghoul. Of course, you can call them like Kurnik or whatever you want to call them, Water Monster or whatever. But we're just going to call them Tiny Ghoul here. And then we're going to go ahead and resize them. So we'll go ahead and grab the resize here. And we'll go ahead and start resizing them here. So we'll try and keep it scaled. So we'll go 1, 2. Looks like that one shrunk him a little bit too much. Okay, he's a little bit long on the other side. We're gonna move that one down. And I think we can do one more. Yeah, so one more, and let's see if maybe we can get one more out of him. No, I think that's about as small as we're gonna get him, unless we use the we turn off magnet. But I think that's good enough. He's pretty small here. All right, and he's below the surface of the water, so we can't see him. So now what we want to do now is we want to go ahead and place right above him. We want to have a particle effect attached to him that plays constantly, which splashes water. So we know wherever he moves, the water above will appear to splash. So we got to put a particle right above him. So if we go to the particle system here, and we go ahead and click on here, and we're going to go back to the root directory here, and we're going to go particles, and we're going to look under water, and then we'll have some options here. The thing is that all these splashing effects that we have here are only one-time effects. Like, they're called one-shot because they're only one shot. So like, for example, if we grab like splash medium here, right, and we place this one down, it'll show the effect, it'll replay it, but it's actually not going to replay. It's only going to play it once in your level. So we want it to actually repeat non-stop. Again, this is one shot. So we're going to have to create our own custom one, and it's actually pretty simple to do that. So we're going to do that. So first, let's see if this is the one that we want. I think this is too big. Maybe if he was in a bigger body of water, we could use that one. But I think the one right below this one, I think one shot medium here. Yeah, this one's a smaller splash. You see that? So I think this is more ideal. It'll give us a perfect spot on where he's at. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna toggle on a setting in the particle that lets it repeat. And that's gonna have us create a custom particle for that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and click here. This is gonna go ahead and open the file location of that particle effect. So that's gonna be right here, and there it is. Splash one shot medium. So we're gonna go ahead and hit copy here, and we're gonna go ahead and put this in our mod directory, and put in any folder that you already have here in your resources added to your directory path here. You could probably create a new folder called particles. I'm just gonna throw it under textures because I already have the textures folder here, and I don't feel like putting down another particles folder for this. So I'm just gonna throw it in textures, and I'm gonna go ahead and rename it as well. We're gonna call it splash repeat medium. So pretty much same name, I just changed it slightly. You can call it whatever you want, but we're gonna call it splash repeat medium. And then what we're gonna do now is we're gonna open up the particle editor. So to do that, we're gonna go back to the root directory of Amnesia Rebirth, and we're gonna go ahead and go to the particle editor here, and we're gonna go ahead and open that up. So then this is pretty much what it should look like here. We're gonna go ahead and we're not gonna be messing around too much with this. I'm just gonna show you how you can turn on the repeat particle effect. We're gonna go ahead and hit File, Open, and we're gonna go in our mods folder, the wake, and we're gonna go into textures, and this is where we just put that new one that we copied. We're gonna load that one up. If we zoom in here, we should be able to see our particle effect. You can see that it's playing right there, and you can change a lot of stuff about particles, so feel free to come in here and mess around with all this stuff. But we only care about whether it repeats or not. And to turn on repeat, we want to click on this option right here, respawn dead particles. And you can see if we hover over it, it says set if particle should cycle. So this will cause it to repeat. And that's exactly what we want. So now we're going to go ahead and hit File, Save, and we're all done here. Now the particle effect should repeat non-stop. So we're going to go ahead and close it. We'll go ahead and exit. We're done with the particle editor. Very simple. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add it to our level editor here. To do that, we're going to go ... here. And we're going to go back and we're going to go to our mods folder here and go directly to where we save that. So we save that to the textures folder, and there it is. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and place it down. I want to place it down right on top of that ghoul here. And what I want to do is put it right above him where it's visible up on the water surface above. So like right here is perfect. You can see it shows up above the water, and it's right above his head too. So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to attach this water splash particle effect to the ghoul, and then what happens is when the ghoul walks around underneath the water, it's gonna bring this particle effect with it. So it's perfect. It's exactly what we want. And we're gonna leave a name PS3. It is important that we give it a name. So if you didn't give it a name already, give it a name. And I'm gonna leave all the defaults here. Notice we can't disable particle effects right off the start. So we're gonna have to put a line in our startup script for the map to disable this particle effect, because we only want to enable it when the ghoul is active. So so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hit save now. We should be all done now with the level editor. We shouldn't have to do anything in the level editor right now. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our code line application here. So first thing we want to do is what I told you guys. We want to make sure it's not enabled to start. We want to choose when we enable this particle effect. So in our setup, in our void setup option here, what we're going to do is we're going to type in particle system, and it's going to be set visible here. And then you're going to put in the name of that particle effect. So we left it with the default, which was PS_3. And then we're going to do comma space, and then we're going to set this to false. So we don't, when the map is set up, we want to set this particle to be false. We don't want it to be visible just yet. So we set that to false. And then what we're gonna do is we have this collide area here in the beginning of our level right here, trigger 1. So this trigger here is set so that when the player interacts with it, collides with it, we call this function here on collide player trigger 1 our script file, and then we can execute some code. So if we go to our CodeLight application here, you can see that's right here on Collide Player Trigger 1. And what we're doing is we're checking the all state. If all state is equal to 1, that means that the player entered the area. If it's equal to anything else, if it's equal to, I believe, -1, then that means that the player left the area. So we only care about it when the player enters the area. So or we just care about this part right here, if all state equals 1, and we're going to return false to make sure that whatever executes in this box right here is only going to execute once, and it's not going to execute more than once. So we're going to go ahead and hit enter here, and what we're going to do is we're going to set that ghoul active. We're gonna and then we're going to set that particle that we created to be active as well, so we can see it. Then we're going to attach that particle to the ghoul, and then from there we have the Kernick kind of water monster, apparent water monster. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go ahead and do entity set active, and we're going to go ahead and do our quotations here, and we're going to put the name of the ghoul. So we called the ghoul Tiny Ghoul, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to double check that. I think it was Tiny Ghoul, I always forget. And we're going to set them to be active, so we're going to set that to be true. So we're going to do comma true, and let's not forget our semicolon here. Let's make sure we got the semicolon up here as well, and we did here. All right. And let me just double check that I did name him Tiny Ghoul, and I didn't forget to name him. Yep, Tiny Ghoul, that's the name. So now let's go back to the CodeLight application here. So we're setting the Tiny Ghoul to be active. Now we're going to go ahead and set the particle to be active. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy what we wrote right here, and we're just going to set this to true instead of false. So I'm going to copy this, I'm going to paste it right here, and I'm going to set this to be true. So that's going to make it so that the particle effect is active and it should start splashing. Next is the attaching part. We want to attach this particle effect to the ghoul now. So we're going to say particle system. So particle system, and then we're going to go with attach to entity. We're going to hit enter. So we're going to type in the name of the particle, and the particle will attach right from where it's placed. So it's placed just above the water, so it will attach from that point, and any movement to the ghoul will move the particle system as well, the particle as well. So it's going to be PS3, and then the name of the entity we want to attach it to, which is Tiny Ghoul. So we're going to say Tiny Ghoul, and then we'll put our colon right there, or semicolon. And then next, just an extra touch to make this a little better. The ghoul can normally grab the player, but the ghoul's tiny, so we don't want him to be grabbing the player. And that's not what the water monster does anyways. He doesn't grab the player. So what we're going to do is disable the grabbing of the ghoul, so he's not throwing the player around. So what we're going to do is we're going to do ghoul underscore set allow player throw. And we're going to put in the name of the ghoul. So we're going to say tiny underscore ghoul. And then we're going to set that to be false. So we're going to do comma false, because we don't want him to be able to throw the player around. We just want him to be able to hit the player. And that's pretty much that. So to give it a quick rundown again, to start the level, we're making sure that the particle system won't be visible. Then when the player enters this trigger area, we're going to set the ghoul to be active. We're going to set the particle. We're going to set the particle system to be visible. We're going to attach that particle system to the ghoul, and then we're gonna set it so that the ghoul can't throw the player. He can only like slash at the player, and that's pretty much that. So, of course, we have no pathing here for the ghoul. We have no path nodes to tell the ghoul where to go. So obviously, you still want to put path nodes down here. Of course, if you've seen the other ghoul video, so make sure you put down path nodes here. I don't really care so much for demonstration. This should be enough, and if he slashes at me, this should move, and that should be enough to show you guys that it's working. So let's go ahead and launch up the game now, and let's go ahead and check it out, see what it looks like. Okay. Alright guys, so here we are in our level. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk to this barrier here, and we're going to trigger all our script. Notice how there's no splashing effect right there because we disabled it in the setup. So as we walk here, the splashing effect should start, and we should see our ghoul spawn down here, and then we can see if it follows everything properly. So walk through, there's our ghoul. We're going to go ahead and kind of go this way, and as you can see, the water effect follows him. It stays above the surface of the water, so we can clearly see where he is, and yeah, and that's it. So you can imagine if we had the whole room, filled with this layer of water here. You won't be able to see the ghoul. You just hear the screeching, and you can also try and disable like the sound effects from the ghoul and stuff if you wanted to do something like that. But yeah, that pretty much gives you the water monster effect from Amnesia Rebirth, or from the original Amnesia. Pretty cool. And I'll make a mention to this because Pat M did ask also how he would make it so that the water monster would eat meat if it was thrown in the water. Pretty simple. Just get I think the simplest way would just be create a very thin trigger area right above the surface of the water. And all that trigger area is going to do is detect whether or not you threw in some valid piece of meat that the ghoul will take to eat, or the water monster will eat. And if it is a valid piece of meat, then you just send in the ghoul eat meat function. You use that, and you use it on the water monster ghoul, and he'll go eat the meat and be distracted from the player. You can always set it so that the ghoul ignores the player while he's eating the meat. So as soon as the meat crosses that trigger area plane above the water, the ghoul is gonna go eat the meat that was thrown in the water by using the ghoul eat meat command. And then you can also disable the ghoul's hostility towards the player so that he doesn't go accidentally attack the player and stuff. Or if he is attacking the player right now, he'll drop everything he's doing to go eat the meat. So, you could take it from there. You could pretty much get creative from there. So maybe I'll do that implementation in the future episode. But for now, I think this is pretty good for the water monster. Pretty much gets you guys started if it's something that you're looking to implement. So pretty cool idea. And with that, guys, I'm going to wrap up Q&A number 7 here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Leave comments on what you want to see in future Q&As. And don't forget to join Discord. There's a link in the description of every video. And you can come there and put your suggestions as to what you want to see in there as well. So with that, guys, have a good one. Bye.